done been through the storm. The shit I've been through, yo, my heart is torn. My words are deep. It'll cut you hard, leave your body scarred. Got me on my knees praying to God.
Due to COVID-19, China and I would not be able to record at the same location. We want to keep this virus down. We want to remain healthy, and we just want to follow the rules. However, we want to keep our show going for the viewers, and we're sorry for any inconvenience. And we want to thank you guys for always tuning in with us.
Good evening and welcome to Let's Speak on It with Chyna and Chyna Doll. This evening, I'll be discussing abuse, and then the second topic will be how do you feel when people come around only when they want or need something? This evening, I have a special guest from D-Bag Clothing here with me, Mr. Duhan. He'll be discussing his personal experiences with both these topics, okay? So let's get right into it.
How you doing?
Hi, good evening. So, abuse come in many forms. A lot of people tend to think that it's only physical abuse, right? They have so many different types of abuse that you can experience, whether it be sexual abuse, financial abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse. That's all abuse. And there's probably some more that I forgot to mention. Personally, for me, I haven't experienced too much abuse, but some of it that I can discuss and touch bases on is like physical abuse, far as like sexual physical abuse. Okay, let me clear that up. If you're dating someone and you kind of force them to have sex and they may not want to, it doesn't matter if it's your wife or your girlfriend or your husband. If a person is not in the mood and you're forcing yourself on them, that is a form of sexual abuse. I'm so sorry to be the one to break the bad news. It is not okay to force someone to have sex if they're not in the mood and they don't want to. You cannot force them. It's not your right, and it's not okay. It can cause some damage to them emotionally and mentally, right? Also, some other type of abuse that I can speak on is basically verbal abuse. You know, talking to someone in a demeaning tone, talking to them as if they're nothing, you know, when you get into it with your mate, or it could be with your family members, because abuse don't only happen between couples. You know, it can happen between you and your kids. You know, if you have an unruly child and they talk to you crazy and they're disrespecting you, that's abuse, you know. It could be your sister, your family member. It could be a coworker. It could just be so many different people. You know, you can't demean people. You cannot talk to people like, oh, you're nothing. And, you know, that's belittling them, right? You're nothing. You'll never be nothing. Or, you know, what about when the parents talk to their kids and they're like, oh, you're going to be a tramp like your mom and stuff like that. That's still abuse, and it's not okay. It's never okay to abuse someone. And even if a person tends to continue to deal with you, it doesn't mean that it's not affecting them. You know what I'm saying? They could be dealing with you because they may not know how to walk away, or they become so accustomed to dealing with the abuse to where they'll just continue to sit in that situation. And again, like I said, it could be something that you're dealing with your family. It don't have to be with your mate. You know, I personally have a problem with my mouth. And I had to like take some criticism from some of my friends, you know, and from my maid as well. Like when I get angry, sometimes things come out of my mouth that's not appropriate, and I don't realize how it affects the people that I love. And it's something that I'm currently working on now, but I didn't even think about it at first until I started like doing these discussions. And I start digging deeper, and I'm like, oh my God, I really am abusive with my words. But my words is my defense mechanism. When I get upset, things fly out my mouth and I just say whatever. And I really was not thinking about how it's going to affect the people that I love. But now that I'm doing soul searching, now I'm trying to find better ways to cope with my anger instead of just saying whatever that could be hurtful or considered abusive to my friends or to my family or to my mate or whatever. So just basically, like, if you're dealing with abuse, I feel like you should take the time to figure out how to get away from the abuse, or what you can do to like make the situation better. Maybe talk to the person and let them know how it makes you feel. And that goes with any kind of abuse it is, whatever it is. Okay, I'm rambling on. Yeah. What about you, Mr. Duhan? Let's talk about your experience.
Guys, we don't really deal with physical abuse. We deal with verbal and mental abuse, because women like to play games and fuck with you emotionally instead of physically, because they know they can get in your mental real fast. So we more deal with words and anger issues, daddy issues, trying to fulfill shoes that never was filled before, because they probably didn't have a father in their life. So we deal with poking, and so it gets a little physical sometimes, but we deal with more stuff that we can handle physical, but we can't deal with mentally. So we just shut down, or we probably do some other stuff. But yeah, we more deal with people forcing rules and regulations, and we gotta abide by them and stuff like that. Not accepting you for who you are and stuff like that, and like threats and stuff, more threats and verbal abuse. We don't really deal with physical. Like, I probably deal with a female physically once or twice, like, but more 9 times out of 10 it was probably verbal before it got physical, or before it even got there. So I'll be trying to catch attitude traits and stuff like that when they start, nigga, you ain't shit, and fuck you, that's why I did this and I did that. They more like that, like tell you what they did to you behind your back, or mess with one of your family members, or mess with you mentally and make it feel like it's something that you not doing right, or you ain't getting enough money, and you could be going out hustling, have a job, and they could just be sitting there not doing nothing. And it could be vice versa. A male could be just sitting around not doing nothing. I did both. I ain't gonna lie. I've been in both situations where I was the provider, and it was a situation where I was not providing as much as I should, or and the one that I was providing more for had more problems than the one I had less fortunate money problems with. Like, I was hustling, selling weed, scams, anything you can name it, but it still wasn't good enough. So it's like it be more of dealing with male pride. Like, they try to destroy your pride and make you feel less than and less of. And sometimes it'd be like, we be out here doing the same thing, like telling our women they not good enough, or they not beautiful enough, or cheating and making them feel less than. So they react with them verbal abusive language and physical pokings, and where we did the vice versa with the poking and all that, we'd go to jail. Or it make you understand, like, oh, I know how that nigga went to jail. He probably was blocking her or holding her down, and she done hit him, and he done pushed her down, and now she got a scratch, and it's over. Like, so I'll be trying not to put my hands on females. I'm more probably a verbal abuser. Like, I say some shit just to make you mad, like not even knowing like how much abuse I'm really causing. So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Okay, so let's get into our next topic, okay? Because I think we took a lot of time with that one, you guys. So, don't forget to email us at letspeakonit@gmail.com, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, and also like and subscribe our YouTube channel, okay? The second topic is, how do you feel when people come around only when they need something? I don't like it at all. I try my best not to do that to people because I don't like it personally. People have feelings. You shouldn't only call a person because you want your hair done, or your nail tech only because you want something. Sometimes it's okay just to send a text and say, hey, how you doing? It's okay. I have a lot of people around me that had a tendency of doing that to me. They'll only hit me up to borrow money, or they want to borrow my place for a party, or it's so many different things. and I don't like it, and I've learned to not be quiet about it. At first I would kind of like let it pass and I wouldn't say too much because I didn't want to hurt their feelings, but then I had to sit back and I thought about it like, well, wait a minute, nobody caring about my goddamn feelings. Like, when are you gonna take the time to see if I'm okay? Just call me to say okay. You can't call me and ask me to borrow $1,000 and then don't even call me the rest of the year. Like, I don't want to only hear from you when you need to borrow money from me. Like, no, I want to hear from you just sometimes just to say, hey, how you doing? How's it going? You know what I'm saying? Like, ask me how's the kids doing. Ask me how's work going. And it's just not right. Another thing is, it's like, okay, if I do let you get something from me, that's okay, right? But remember throughout the year to pay me back, right? Nobody wants to feel used. That's just basically what I'm saying. So don't tap in with people or check in with people, whatever you want to call it. Don't do that shit only when you want something or when you need something. Like, you have to reach out throughout times, because the thing is, you never know what your loved one could be dealing with. A lot of people, assume that other people that seem strong don't go through stuff. But listen, they do. And sometimes they just want a friendly voice on the other end of the receiver. You don't even have to always come over. You could just call, and that could make a difference. That's all I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah.
Duhan, how do you feel about it?
I lost a lot of relationships the last couple of years. At first, I used to like be the one that always reach out. But then it started feeling like am I asking for too much? Like, damn, all I did is call her. It could be the homie. Like, I call a homie, like, man, what's up? Like, come kick it or whatever. Then it's like, when I stopped, then I started seeing, like, nobody, like, really respond. So I'm like, okay, so let me back. And then I just start peeping, like, gang, like, say if I lose a phone or something, I don't got my phone, I gotta change my number or something. Like, I can see how many people that look for me on Instagram or Facebook, like, nobody there, right? So then when I started, like, opening up an entertainment company, started a clothing company, like, now they like, oh, what's up, where you been at? And whoop, whoop, like, oh, my nigga. They see me with Trap Kitchen or something, like, oh, my nigga. Like, damn, where was you when I didn't have nothing? Or when I was in the garage, or when I was on Holly, where was y'all at? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I was in the mud, in need of a friend, just a what's up, like, just to get me out off the block or something, or like nobody wanted to motivate me to get off the block or stop selling drugs, stop hustling, and like get off the gang environment. Like, niggas trying to find a way out, and like nobody try to help you. Like, but when they see you doing something, they like, oh, they gravitate to you, like law of attraction. Like, they gravitate towards you or whatever. But I started to see that, like, dang, I can't call nobody for nothing. Like, dang, they call me for anything. It could be like to come help them with putting a floor in, rebuilding a house, or helping them with their company promote, or anything, help promote their clothing company. Like, but when it was my turn to get my clothing company, it was like no support, like no moral support. Like, we don't really be asking for too much money support or financial support. It'd be more like moral support. Just call your homie and say what's up. Let's just kick it. Let's bounce some ideas off each other or whatever. It seems like when they start doing that, it's like when you call me, you'll call me and see what I'm up to and like try to steal my ideas or something like that. Like, you trying to pick my brain instead of like just calling me like, what's up? Like, let's go hang out, whatever. It's always like, oh, where you get this from? Or how you do that? Who put you in that movie? Or who did this for you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
to be nosy.
Yeah. Like, it's like no more, nothing for me, nothing for my benefit. It's more like what they could see, what they could get out of you. You know what I'm saying? And it don't always gotta be money or anything financial. It could be like just creative stuff or
connected.
Yeah, or just using, period. Like, but somebody could have $20,000 and still ask you for $2 to buy something to eat. Like, damn, you got 20 bands, you just flossing on everybody, and now you ask the brokest nigga in here for $2, and he still give it to you. Like, here, give you his last. Like, and niggas still want to appreciate that. Like, damn, you supposed to be my best friend, though. You feel me? Or you supposed to be my lover or whatever. Like, damn. Like it go both ways. From friends, lovers, anybody can get used or feel used. It could be with sex. Like, dang, I don't want to have sex or something. And then like you feel like that's the only way you could pay them back or something. So you have sex with them or something like that. So it don't always gotta be financial.
And how that make you feel?
Like used, abused.
And
Like
it's
don't
hurt?
you can use me, don't misuse me. Like I'm here to get used. Like we all here to get used. But nobody wanted to feel used or abused from something that they trying to do out the kindness of their heart. Like somebody could take your kids to school every morning and fuck up everything they have, and you'll be like, oh fuck you. Like it ain't my shit. Like you still wouldn't appreciate it like it was yours. Like they picking up taking your kids to school or whatever, wrecking they sleep. Like they don't have to do that. Like that's something like you gotta appreciate. Like people don't have to be there for you when they're there for you. They doing it out the kindness of your heart. So you gotta at least reciprocate or show that you care or should do it for them sometimes. Like should take their kids to school sometimes or get up out your sleep and go to a game or do something for them as well as they do it for you and be proud of it. But that's all I got so far.
Absolutely, I agree. Basically, we just wanted to talk about, just showing love when love is shown to you. You have to reciprocate what's being given to you. Basically, nobody wants to feel used. Nobody wants to feel like that, they're only going to be called when you need something. You just have to check in with people because life is too short, you guys, and you know it. Like, you never know when a person is going to be gone. So just appreciate people while they're here. I hope that we were able to help some people with this discussion tonight. And tune in with us and catch us every Monday at 7 p.m. on YouTube. Till then, stay blessed. Bye.
Lord, why didn't you save me? I was walking down the street when that nigga put his arms around me. He snuck up from the back, told me don't look back, said he had a gun, and I bet not run. I was 14, nigga took my innocence. Oh.